resolutions are ongoing, how to make the year a much better one than it was the previous and the one before. And to help us through this conversation, first time on the show, by a very powerful woman, powerful in every sense of the word. Mrs. Letitia Ohene Efa, welcome to Sunday Breakfast.
Thank you very much for having me, both of you.
Thank you. She's been giving us intense competition on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And now we've brought her in studio, because on Saturday morning, just around the time we are on set or about leaving, she's also on radio.
Farm Life.
We Farm Life on City FM every Saturday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m.
It's actually 7 to 9.
7 to 9 a.m. now,
Okay, so it's literally the same time.
Exactly, giving us competition. But we are also pushing because now we brought her here.
Yeah.
So all her viewers and listeners are now here with us. Welcome to Sunday Breakfast.
Thank you. How are you?
We're very well. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Or I should speak for myself. You're not well.
Oh, I am. I think I'm doing okay. And it's important we're having this conversation. New year, new you, resolutions. Because some of the things I set out to do, it's only 19 days, but at home soon. So I need motivation. And I'm so happy you're here to help us do that.
How do we, let me start the conversation. How do we make, plan our year and then stick to it? Because most of the time, I'll do this, I'll do that. We write down so many resolutions and then, like Jude saying, 19th January already, some of them are tonsio. How do we make specific plans and stick to them?
For me, I don't believe in resolutions, right? So it's where you start, where you're saying that resolution is more like, these are the things I'm going to do or I will not do. But it's okay to know what you won't do because then it helps you to understand or reframe or swap it to what I want, right? So those are resolutions basically. So the major one is I'll lose weight by, especially for a lot of women, I'll lose weight. But the thing is, what's your baseline? How much weight are you looking to lose? So there's a lot that is unsaid within that resolution. Therefore, you need to turn your resolutions to goals.
Okay.
So there's nothing wrong with resolutions, only it has not been reframed as a goal, and therefore it's not active. It's passive.
Okay.
And when it's passive, we're evolving souls. So you step out of the house, you come back, something has changed.
True.
And as something changed, you were not in the mood or the process of realizing that or recognizing that even perhaps this was part of my goal, or this is a learning, or this is a distraction, and therefore what do I do? So I think typically what happens is, and then we don't also review our year before.
Yeah.
So for example, 2024, what did you achieve? And you need to be honest with yourselves. I think sometimes we're not. So you need to be super honest with yourself. What happened? A number of the time we project our problems onto somebody. So because my boss was evil, then and made sure I was in the office too many times, even past then I XYZ. Because so we always projected, but until we take full responsibility of what it is that we have achieved or not achieved, we're going to struggle. So I think that's where you start, the baseline. So first you may have some resolutions, fantastic. Where are you? What happened to you? You can even start, today is 19th, right? So we've done 19 days of the year. Where are you? What has changed between when you did the resolution and today? What do you really, really want? Now turn them into goals. So for example, your short-term goal, and that's the other thing, you have longer-term goals and shorter-term goals. So let's assume for health, let's talk about health, exercise. So let's assume that if God grants me 100 years, I want to be able to walk without a stick. It's a health goal, right? But now I need to come back to who I am now. So you may be 30, you may be 40, you may be 20, whatever your age is. You're looking at 100 years from today, so that's about 70 years, depending on what your age is. Where am I today? What is my shortest goal possible? And your short-term goals is supposed to help you build momentum.
Okay.
So you wake up in the morning and you're like, okay, maybe you go to the hospital. you go and do a baseline survey. So I think the easiest one would be full blood count or something that checks your cholesterol, all of those things, where your blood levels are. And when you speak to the doctors, they'll help you. We're all learning that our hormones affect almost every part of our lives more than we ever anticipated. So where are your hormonal levels? What should you focus on? So that's your baseline. So suddenly you know where you want to go in the long term. You know where you are today, your current reality. You know your desired reality. Now, how do I move from where I am towards where I need to go? So the longer term is so long that you're not too worried about what I do today, right? So you decide, for example, that maybe based on where my cholesterol levels are, I need to do this particular exercise. Or maybe my health is fine. Everything, all the indicators are good, but I still want to be healthy. So I will exercise 30 minutes a day. 30 minutes a day is no joke. No, for real, it's no joke. So I did something last year between October and December, speaking of health. And I gave myself a target to do 5,000 steps every day because my work is sedentary. I sit behind my laptop pretty much the whole day. And I can do that for 12 good hours a day. And all I do is walk from one office to the other to speak to somebody and come back. So I was really doing nothing. So I did that, and I said, okay, for me to be able to achieve it, I have to do it before I leave home in the mornings. What time can I do that in? See, what's the time frame? So for me, by 5 a.m., I would have done my 5,000 steps.
Wow.
But it is no joke when I started. Like when I get out of the bed and I have to start, it's not a joke.
Yeah, starting is always the difficult part.
It's always the difficult part, but just start. So sometimes I count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I launch out of the bed.
Wow.
But before I sleep, I wear my exercise clothes. Because I'm in stress. I don't want to give myself an excuse, right? Everything is an excuse.
Yeah.
It's valid, but it's an excuse.
You know, the former Vice Chancellor of Legon, Professor Ernest Aite, was speaking to students one time, and he said that if you want to justify mediocrity, you would always
find a reason.
An excuse.
Yeah, you will always find a reason. So I literally jump out, and then I go as far as away from my bed as possible.
Yeah.
So the Chinese have this thing about 60-second rule, where you walk 60 seconds away and towards that which you want to do. And I take my phone because I'm tracking my progress, and I start. So I just start. When you start, it's amazing. You don't want to stop.
5,000 steps a day.
Yeah. So sometimes I'm like, I'm so tired. Then I haven't even done 500 steps. But the thing is, I don't stop because I look at the steps that I've done, maybe 500 skips, but I only have, it's not even up to 800 steps.
Right.
So then I know I have more to go. Sometimes I'll break, go drink water, come back, go do something else, come back. So I also I've given myself a 2-hour bank to be able to do that.
Right.
Within that, I have prayers, I have meditation, I have all manner of things that happens within those 2 hours. So I give myself the flexibility as well. And I don't even go outside to do it. I do it inside my room, inside our house. So I don't go out.
Okay.
You can go to the gym, so that's where you move to the next step. So now, in a day, I can do over 10,000.
Right.
Because I've done it for over 3 months, which is the time when you automate a habit.
Consistently.
Yeah, so 21 days will help you to now begin to say that, oh, I'm getting the hang of this. The second month is saying that it's easier, it's becoming much easier. But by the third month, you have built that, like if you don't do it, that's it, there's something missing, right?
Yeah.
So that's where you want to get to. And that also helps with the momentum. So it is daily and daily and daily encouraging yourself to get up and do. And some of the ones, first turn it into a goal. So I want to lose maybe 10 kilos within the next 3 months. Have a baseline. Maybe I went to check and then my sugar levels are high. So I would want to change my diet. How do you change your diet? Speak to a dietitian. Go online and learn something. They're all not right. But read enough and then decipher which one works best for you.
Right.
And again, because you've seen a doctor, you have your baseline, you put the two together, or you go back to the same doctor. They'll give you, lately a lot of the hospitals have dietitians, nutritionists, so they can help you. And then they can help you look at your baselines, your food habits, and develop a personal plan for you. And it helps. So you get all your minerals and vitamins in it, and then you start the process. And I think those are some of the challenges that we struggle with.
Yeah. For a lot of people, one of the major issues that come up, you've spoken about it also very briefly, is the lack of motivation, right, to get through what they've planned to do. So I just want you to maybe just briefly speak to us on how to build motivation and momentum, right? Because it's the momentum that will keep the motivation going. So how do you first of all build motivation to then sustain, whatever you've set out to do as part of your new year goals and not resolutions as you put it?
Mel Robbins says something that sounds a bit harsh, right? But she says that motivation is garbage. And I tend to agree with her because you need the discipline. And I think you, in your submission, you mentioned it. It's the discipline that you need. Motivation will never come until you act. And that's what you mentioned that as well. So you need to act, take a moment. So like I said, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, jump out of the bed. That's not enough because you're still too close to the bed.
Okay.
Right?
I get what you mean.
So move, 60 steps. You want to be able to spark whatever it is that you want to go and do. If it's a book you want to read, have it by your bed. Or wherever you need to read. So it's also, again, further away from your bed. Then you can walk towards it. But prepare for that. And then do it. It's discipline. You need to discipline yourself to do things. There's pain. There's some beauty in pain. I think lately we don't want the pain, but embrace the pain. Pain doesn't mean that you're pinching yourself, you're hurting yourself, you're not deserving or worthy. You are worthy. Pain simply says that, after this 1,000 steps, but let me push through. Because I know the benefits outweigh my current challenges.
Other people call endurance?
That's also, you can endure, exactly. So by embracing pain, you're basically enduring and saying that this is for a moment.
Right.
You won't always be at this level if you keep up. I didn't start, even though I had the 5,000 goal, I didn't reach it every day when I started because it was tough. But now it comes very easy. After I've automated that habit, it comes very easy. So build in the systems. You need a system.
True.
Yeah, you need a system. It's like work. You know that your segment is from this to that. You need a system to make it work. So what's your system? And sometimes a system could simply mean getting an accountability partner, somebody who will tell you the truth, like, just get up. This is just an excuse. Stop giving yourself an excuse and get up, let's go. I liken it to Olympians. It doesn't matter when you're pregnant and you're an Olympian. All you have is 4 years. So you get up and you do. Even when you're throwing up, you do. That's the discipline
in the last Olympics were running with their bellies or participating in the various disciplines with their...
It's the only way you push through.
So discipline is everything for you?
Discipline is everything. So I say I'm doing something as on my way here, Angela calls me and says, so will you be here by 8:30? When I go here, I was like, Angela, I will always be here unless it's such an emergency. I'll always be here at least 15 minutes before the time you gave me. Like, it is what I work by. It's a discipline that I've cultivated over the years. 8 doesn't mean I get there at 8. I get there before 8. Whatever we need to do before the 8 o'clock, we've done it. So we've said all the hellos. 8, let's start.
Yeah.
So it's a discipline, right? But we should also realize that we're not all at the same level.
Sure.
That's true.
So you need to also cultivate empathy through your process. You don't project on others. So what are some of the things I do? I always have my phone. I have the notes on my phone. If I come and you're not ready, I just open my phone. I either read a book, I do something, I do some work. So then I'm managing my emotions based on, if you will, you're in discipline. So I don't now allow you to affect my emotions. So you need to build a system. You need to put in systems. There are little things that you can do to support your own growth.
And one of that,
no, go ahead.
One of that is through having accountability partners.
It helps.
Well, I wanted to also have you speak very briefly on the fear of failure. For some people, they're not able to also go through their planned, resolutions because they feel like they'll fail at a point, right? So then it's not even worth it to begin with. So, and also as a question, but just very briefly, how do you manage, failure when it comes and the fear of it, as you go along your resolutions?
There's so many fears, that alone can be a segment.
I feel you.
There's so many fears. The fear of failure, basically for me, you can decide to wake up in the morning and decide to stay in your bed. And a car can run into your bedroom. It's just what it is. And you can also decide to wake up and move, knowing that I may hit my feet on a staircase, a stone, something. But at the end of the day, I showed up. At the end of the day, I made some progress. At the end of the day, I tried. So for me, I would encourage people to see failure as a necessary step forward. And sometimes it's not really failure, they're lessons. How do you recover from it, for me, is more of an important thing to ask, an important question to ask, than not try at all because you're afraid of failing. Just try. But what if you do well? What if you excel? There's also that aspect of the coin. So try, just get up and try. So that's what I would encourage. Again, encourage yourself and put in little things that will encourage you to get up and do. But fear of failure, we all have it. In fact, we all have a fear of failure in an aspect of our lives. For somebody, it's a fear of driving. But they get up and they decide that, okay, so instead of weaving in and out of traffic, I'll just stick to one lane and I'll just be there, but I'll arrive at my destination.
It's not a race anyway.
Right? It's not a race. This is my own race. So maybe instead of I'll take an Uber. Or I would take a public transport. But whatever your story is, whatever your fear is, just get up and act, because action begets progress. One step after another. It is not, my boss used to say, little drops of water doesn't make a mighty ocean, right? It is little consistent drops
of water.
Because little drops of water can evaporate. See, when it drizzles, before you know it, all the water is gone. But the consistency can bring about a flood. So start. But the consistency must be there. And that's what will bring you progress.
Would you say keeping track of your progress is a good thing?
It is super important. It's important because, see, one of the things I do with especially my team, my colleagues, is that we support each other. So where they're struggling now, I'm getting enough of majority of them to work with a 24-hour calendar, which we teach. But what it is that in a day, you get distracted so many times. It doesn't matter who you are. You have the possibility of you being distracted. So you can put in systems to prevent some of the distractions. Sometimes you can literally go and give your phone to a colleague to say, or put it on silence, airplane mode, and say, I'm going to do some deep work for 2 hours. However, that 2 hours can turn to 3 hours, which means that you've lost an hour of your day, right? Or so you think. You need to track that day and see, what was I able to do well? What couldn't I do well? Do I recycle this? if I recycle it, at what expense? Can I delegate it? What do I do with this particular task? So tracking your progress helps. It also, because you had a plan, things happen. Something happened. Now, how do you recover from it? And it's important that you track it. When you track it, then you know that, oh, I maybe wanted 5,000 steps. I'm just using those as an example because most people it's just an example.
Yeah.
But I only have 2,000. But I had 2,000 because today we left home at 6 instead of 7. Which means that in between the day, I need to make up for
those steps that
exactly.
you haven't done.
But without tracking that progress, you won't know. So you just be going, and then before you know it. Today is the 19th, nothing has happened to any of your goals. And then before you know it, January is over. Before you know it, February is over. So we have the potential to do so much. But if you're not careful, this year will look the same like last year.
Wow. Mrs. Letitia Henefa, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure having you in the studio to talk about some of these really important conversations. Important, but also very difficult. Because for a lot of people, they want to do it. Like they say, the spirit is yearning, but the body is weak. But I like your own personal testimony and example of how you forcefully wear your gym clothes and get up.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sure our viewers out there have taken a cue from your own experience. But thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.